difficult to deal with. Is that what is happening with the 11th Parliament? As of yesterday, we did have the Deputy Speaker of Parliament taking some serious actions. But let's first have a recap of this particular story. Take a look.
Today's plenary commenced with the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, making it clear that there shall be strict adherence to the rules of procedure.
From today and onwards, I want us to apply the rules of procedure to the latter.
The 6 guidelines touched on a strict observance of business scheduled on the order paper. Another had to do with observance of decorum, which included the dress code.
Today, the order paper is for accountability reports.
On today's order paper were motions for the presentation of audit reports by accountability committees, which are chaired by the opposition. However, strict adherence to the order paper would have resulted in a premature adjournment of the session. This after the opposition MPs walked out in protest at their concerns being ignored.
We still find a constraint that the order paper is starting on a fresh page as if nothing has happened.
However, Tayebwa amended the order paper to provide for items like a statement on the delegations which attended the recent United Nations General Assembly. The rules allow the Speaker to amend the order paper.
Any member of the committee can present the business of the committee. So I have appointed Honorable Nangori Gerard to present reports of COSASE.
Sources indicated to NTV that the opposition leadership had, in a meeting convened by Tayebwa earlier in an attempt to restore normalcy, demanded that the decision to suspend 5 MPs is rescinded. They also wanted the video showing evidence of the grievances to be played in Parliament and the government to apologize for disrupting opposition events. They were also concerned about what appeared to be unusual security deployment around Parliament.
Whether by your own instruction, whether by the intervention of external forces, Right Honourable Speaker, if the House is surrounded, that is a toxic environment, Right Honourable Speaker.
We could be having a security threat. Could it be the reason they are not, the members of the public are excluded from hearing what is going on in the House? I have not ordered for any extra security at Parliament, and it's not necessary. There is nothing that warranted that. That's number one.
In the past 7 days, plenary has broken off prematurely. The first time was after chaos broke out when MP Juliet Kinyamatama accused her colleague Francis Zake of insulting her in Rakai. On Tuesday, 5 opposition MPs were suspended after an argument broke out over the relaying of a video that would provide evidence about their complaints about security agents.
Suspend the following members for 3 days. Number 1, Honorable Namboze.
While the opposition boycotted today's session, Mpuga hinted at their return on Thursday, where he is expected to make a statement. Jackson Onyango, NTV at Parliament.
All right. Well, I have mixed reactions with me also because we do have members of Parliament here to explain on their account. And good enough, one is opposition and one is government. So let's pick reactions, especially from Mr. Ebwalu. In regards to what's been happening in the Parliament over the course of the last 2 weeks, we've been seeing turmoil over turmoil. We have started with security lapse. We are seeing rules and regulation lapse in the August House. What is this? What's the interpretation of this? You're supposed to be leaders who are exemplary both in conduct and also in admission of your work.
First of all, the gist of this, what brought all this is the mismanagement of particular section of people in the country. People are being shot dead. People are being kidnapped. Others are being locked up in prisons without a trial. People are disappearing. You see drones moving on the streets of Kampala daytime. being people arrested by the security personnel, by the police, by the military. They are put in the drones. They are disappeared with. Now, when we ask for government to account for the people who have disappeared, the people who have been killed, the people who are being arrested, the people who are in prisons without a trial, we are asking government account for them. That is what we're asking for, government account for them. Tell us so and so is in this prison, so and so is in this detention center, so and so is in detention center, so and so is being charged with this. That has not come from government. Now, there was a time our leader, the Honorable Muhoozi David, raised this in Parliament and even brought a list of people who have disappeared. The Right Honorable Prime Minister got up on the floor of Parliament and agreed with some names that were contained in the list of the leader of the opposition. However, those people are not there. Number one. Number two, we are saying that we are dissatisfied the way government is handling the opposition gatherings. Even after this Public Order Management Act Section 8 being outlawed by our courts, competent court in Uganda, the police is still using that. The other day we saw a situation at the airport. The president of NUP, my brother, the Honorable Chagulanyi, was returning from outside the country where he had gone for political mobilization. On arriving at the international airport, you know, an airport is a place where people should not everyone should access the airport. We saw the security personnel surrounding the airport. As soon as he arrived like this, he was got up, arrested, bundled in the car, and driven into his home, as if he had asked for security. Now we are asking government that the way he was mismanaged, the way the man was mishandled, why are you treating a leader of a registered political organization like that? Number one. Two, a leader with the majority members of the opposition in Parliament, the leading opposition in Parliament, and you're handling him like that, as if he's a VIP. So you don't need to mistreat him like that. But that is not the first time. We saw a situation during the presidential campaign, how my brother, the Honorable Patrick Amuri Atoboy, was mishandled, was humiliated by the security personnel. This is a person who has been nominated. He is a presidential candidate, but you are humiliating him like that on the streets of Kampala, on the streets of Kitgum, on the streets of Soroti. He is campaigning, and then you do that.
All this is anger that you are harboring causing you to react the way you're reacting in Parliament?
I'm coming to it now. It's not necessarily an anger, but we are demanding for our rights. And these rights are not the generosity of the state. Not at all. These rights are not the generosity of the state. They are enshrined in the Constitution. We have seen a number of times, endless times, how much my senior Dr. Besigye has been humiliated. He is nominated, he is a presidential candidate, but the police walks in, disperses the rallies. So we are saying that the police on the military are now part and parcel of politics. They have deeply entrenched the activities into politics. How do you go and disperse a political gathering? That is very peaceful. We have seen it here. Okay. So the other day, our leader, the Right Honorable Muhoozi David, got up on the floor of Parliament and asked Parliament that we are demanding for a statement from government. Tell us, account for us what happened. Why did you do that? And promise that this will not happen again. Government, as we were seated there, the first day, they did not have any statement. I want to thank the Right Honorable Speaker. He gave a directive to the Minister of Internal Affairs and the Minister of Defense to come with a statement. Eventually, they came with a statement in Parliament. They presented. When it came to the time of response from our side, the leader of the opposition got up and said, before I make a statement, I want to request Parliament that we play the footage, the video of what happened. He said that will be the response. I will only make a statement in 3 minutes. The Speaker allowed. Because the President, remember, the previous day, there was a situation between Honorable Zake and Kinyamatama, where the lady claimed that Zake went to her constituency and insulted her. So the Speaker allowed that to be played in Parliament. So now a precedent had been set. So the leader of opposition, Muhoozi David, simply asked that, Mr. Speaker, sir, kindly allow this video to play. The Speaker allows. And then all of a sudden, the machines develop technical glitch. How come? That the other time,
the person responsible
the other time,
the one of
Kinyamatama played in a matter of a second. Now, when it comes to this one now to play on this side, it doesn't play. Can you imagine? Now the speaker is on record. One, making a ruling that the video must play. One. Two, the speaker is also on record now, saying that we are going to subject it to a vote, whether it should play or it should not play. So those are two rulings at the same time, and they're on records of Parliament. What will happen to people who will come and read that, who will come and read our answers tomorrow? So there was a bit of double standards on the side of the speaker in the way he managed the whole process. First of all, if I were in that state, in that situation, beginning with the first video, I would have devised the right, my sister, if I was in the chair, I would have advised one, Kinyamatama, to raise this matter with the speaker in his office administratively. Two, because this matter was raised in Rakai, not in Parliament. Why do we keep bringing issues that are raised outside Parliament for Parliament to sort? One. Number two, I would have advised my sister, the Honorable Kinyamatama, if she felt offended, she would have taken the route of court. Go to court. But then, we allowed it to be done in Parliament. Now tomorrow, I will have an issue elsewhere, and I'll ask the Speaker, allow this footage to be played in Parliament. What will it be? Because now there is a precedent. So what we did in Parliament was not because we wanted it to be done that way. We have decided that we are not going to be in Parliament. We want a statement to come from government, and then we want this video to be played. Like what happened yesterday. The House ended prematurely the previous day. Okay. Now we expected to have started. Let's
get some reactions from Honorable Abba.
We expected to have started.
We have listened to you. Now we need to listen to her. She is with government, and they are raising a good fundamental point that the side of government was given the leniency to defend themselves, and now the opposition comes out to also request a defense, a counter defense to what happened and transpired. However, something in between there happened. We heard from Honorable Zake yesterday stating that the person who was supposed to be handling that particular video disappeared from the house, and then the flash was taken out, and then security handling did happen thereafter. Honorable Abba, how do you respond to this?
You know, one thing that we need to know is that there is total dishonesty in the opposition. And the way Luganda word says katemba, a lot of drama.
How can you be killed and that's katemba?
You cannot, no. Some of the statements that opposition makes, the allegations, they even know that is not true.
How can you be killed and
like for example,
Honorable Ebwal, we're giving her time to give us a reaction on her side.
You see, I really understand the political environment we are in. We are in a multi-party politics. But we also need to run this with high dignity. We also need to be real when we are doing this. We can't afford to have drama throughout from the opposition. For me, I would say opposition has lost direction, actually. Because the way things are being done, if I were them, I wouldn't do it that way. Number one, you can't start claiming that there are people who have guns and they are in the house. To be honest, no one had any gun. These security personnel are bodyguards who have been there, and I've been seeing them. Why have they been complaining before? We are talking about all the deployments of security personnel outside their vehicles. Who doesn't know that even the leader of opposition is being escorted by police? Don't they have guns in that car when they're escorting him? Why is this kind of drama and pretense that you want to bring? You see, we are nearing election
let's go back. Let's go back to the incident of.
I'm coming back to the incident because he talked about it, and I need to really respond because these are facts. Now, coming to the incidents of Parliament, the opposition asked for a statement from the minister. Of course, the day they asked, you don't expect the minister to have moved with a statement. You ask for it, and you go and prepare and bring. The minister, General Muhoozi, came with a statement. They again brought in another statement and another issue and said, no. How come this statement got ready very fast? We have been asking for other statements that are not ready. The speaker said, okay, if that's the matter, you want other statements first all be prepared at once, then let's the minister go back and prepare. They walked out of the house. Now, this habit of walking out of the house,
Aber is not being
they even
honest
first
here.
caucus.
That is her honesty.
This is, I am being extremely honest, and you know me, I'm very objective. They sit down and say, so what do we do? They caucus and said, they plan these things. Don't think it's by what happens in the house. They plan. After this, we are going to do this. Even tomorrow, they are going to, today, they may do the same thing. So it's just something they have planned. When they do this, we're going to do this. Who are you hurting? Parliament has an august house. A legislative arm of government must operate. In that house, we don't have one political party. And it's not that every opposition person in that house agrees with some of the moves that they make. And I can tell you, some of them stayed in the house. So business of the house has to continue. I was actually very happy that yesterday, the speaker stood his ground. And if they are blaming the speaker, I really feel that this is total dishonesty. The speaker was very lenient. He had backdoor meetings with them. The Lord was in that meeting twice. They called them for a meeting. We said, how do we run the house? There's this issue, contention, because they agree. In most cases, they agree. You may not know these meetings that takes place between among the seniors, but they do agree. Even this, they had 2 meetings. Okay. Even yesterday, there was a meeting before we went to the house.
Let's look at the element of suspension.
Yeah.
5 members of parliament are suspended. Opposition. Reason being?
That's a matter of the rule. And you saw what they were doing.
Yeah, I just need to get it from you, the horse's mouth.
That is the problem. Imagine the rule is very clear. You listen to a colleague, to another honorable member of parliament in silence. You listen to the speaker in silence. So, I mean, somebody standing up,
so
you saw the footage.
In listening to silence, there are people who did react.
Now, let's say, what led us to that?
First listen, there are people who did have their reactions, and their reactions was, of course, not in silence, as you state. So why is it that only opposition members of parliament are suspended? Why not everyone who was reactionary at the time given a suspension?
No. You see, I think the footage was clear. You could even see Honorable Zake doing the hand, the fist,
you see,
like fighting.
that was after.
And they, no.
That was after suspension. You see, my sister.
And the speaker kept on mentioning, sit down, keep quiet, sit down. Honorable Zake was just standing, was up. Honorable Nyeko was up. They were all shouting at the speaker. As if we are nursery school kids. You people, one thing we must know, Parliament was there before us. Parliament will be there and will remain. What Lillian Abe does as woman member of Parliament must be to protect the decorum of Parliament and how business is being done. This is not a national theatre. So the speaker was right to suspend them. Would have been suspended more. I think the speaker was very lenient.
If we get the footage on the other side of Parliament, I think we'd see something different. But let's first have Captain Babu. Can you give us a reaction to one, first of all, how the speakership is managing a Parliament at the time, and then also the conduct of honourable members of Parliament? Perhaps everyone should be stripped of the word honorary for a time, so as to bring them all to board and reality of the matter that their duties are beyond self-interests.
Thank you very much. This is not the first parliament to have these problems. And all over the world, there are even those who have come out and boxed each other. But let us see what parliament is. Parliament has got a culture. A culture which is driven by rules. Rules made by the members of parliament themselves. Point number 1. The best equivalent to that is looking at a court of law. When the lawyers are talking, they're usually on the other side of each other, but the judge is got the final say, and if you are contempt of the judge, you go to jail. The contempt to the judge, contemptuous. Now in Parliament, if you're a member of Parliament, according to the rules, the speaker says, member of Kitgum, please sit down. Members, please sit down. He would not mention your name. Immediately he mentions your name. The next thing is you're going out. That's the power of the presiding officer. Now you're asking why he decided certain people should go. They challenged him. Once you have contempt to the presiding officer, somebody had a bell. Did you see the bell? And somebody went near the chair and pointed in him. Now, that immediately gives the presiding officer to invoke the powers he's got to suspend. And it's only for 3 days. He could even have suspended them for more, but he didn't. 3 days, and if they don't listen and they continue that way, he can take them to a disciplinary committee. Now, this is the culture of Parliament. Now, the behavior, juvenile behavior, I'm sorry to use the word, is extremely important, that you hold yourself and you respect the Parliament and you respect the chair. Now, if you feel that the chair has not ruled well, in the rules there is a law which says 4 of you stand up and challenge his ruling. And by doing so, you subject it to a vote. It is in the law. Now, all I am saying is I am going to repeat this, and I'm going to say this. Our parties in this country are not cultured. Our leaders have lost it. Members of Parliament, who I have a lot of respect for, the majority of them are really very good, are being driven by a small number of people who are misbehaving, and they are supporting them. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle they are on. If you are bad-mannered, you are bad-mannered. And this culture of Parliament must be called to order. And the only person who can do that is, and by the way, I'd like to congratulate the Speaker. He bent over. I could see there are people he allows to speak whatever they want. I've heard of one member who is permanently standing on point of procedure and telling other people off. Or continuously insulting a Prime Minister. And this Speaker, in fact, these people, I think they chose well. He was bending over all the time. He's holding one meeting after the other behind the scene to get the conflict resolved. Now, a presiding officer is sitting on conflict. Whenever you have 2 different groups of people, there is a conflict, you should find out how to assess that conflict. But the juvenile behavior is planned, unfortunately. And by the way, Parliament has got parliamentary police. You should never be told lies. They've got a parliamentary police which guards that Parliament. Apart from the members who have got also their guards. They've got, the Prime Minister has got a group of cars with the policemen. The leader of opposition has a cars and escorts. Different members of Parliament have requested some ministers up. Now, if you get all those people, you imagine 500 people. If each one of them had a gun, how many are those?
500 guns.
So this business of gun is planned. Very well planned. They talk about it. There's a people outside. This is 1966. This is spinning. Now, when you spin, you have to be very careful because unspinning it could also be very difficult. So I'm sorry. We've lost the culture of Parliament because people are not willing to come up. By the way, I enjoyed listening to the leader of the opposition when he was speaking. He gave a press conference, which I listened to, spoke very well. Then he made a mistake when he went into Uganda. He actually insulted the government. And then, I wanted to say this, it's very bad that the Minister of State came with the report they had wanted, but the opposition wanted them to control his report. You cannot control the report of a government. You can't. They will give you a report and then you can oppose it. But you cannot tell them, we want you in that report to apologize to us. We want you in that report to say this. Why do you think they should apologize to you? They will give you their side of the story. You are supposed to stand up and say, I don't agree with that. And whether you have, it's your right. But let me give you a very quick example. They should tell you about airports. They've been telling you about the laws at the airport. Having been in aviation for many years, just the other day, Kenya Airways was escorted by jets, the British Air Force jets, to Stansted instead of Heathrow. And you know why? They suspected there was something on the aircraft. Security takes over any airport, takes over the whole airspace if the security of the country is at danger.
Okay.
And in that explanation, the minister said, we had got intelligence that had we allowed the leader of the party to go through this, we are going to have problems at State House. We are going to have problem on the route. He said it.
And also,
right.
Now, you can
Honorable
oppose him.
Ebwal.
Listen, you can oppose him by saying you don't agree, but they have intelligence. But they took him to his home, and that is security. And immediately they had got him at the airport. The security at the airport went back to normal. I want us to be very careful.
just
Wait,
one.
no,
When
no,
I say- I'm not-
no.
I'm-
We have to allow him to react to all of you.
No, he's going
Yes.
to say whatever he wants. But this business of saying that security, every airport, no security. No, when security takes over an airport, all the other things stop.
Okay. All right,
National
so now
security is
let's
more
have
important.
you react to what has been shared, but also in your reactions, please point us to the reason as to why you are having your reactions out of order in Parliament.
No, first of all, the footage that you see there. I sit in Parliament, the Honorable Aber sits in Parliament. The reaction you see there from Honorable Namboze, Honorable Zake was a consequence after the Speaker suspended the five. That was the behavior after they had been suspended. Checking the bells and the rest when they walk out.
Even
I
if
agree.
it was after, the behavior is still not called
I agree.
for according to the order.
Let me
of
tell you, my
Parliament.
sister, I completely do not condone that behavior. Completely, I don't. Completely, I don't. Even however much you want to be angry, you don't do that to the Speaker. I completely don't agree with that.
yeah.
However, what brought about that reaction? When the Honorable Zake raised a procedure matter, the other side, the NRM side, did not allow Zake to speak.
Your hand is going the other side.
No, they did not allow the Honorable Zake to speak. The Speaker pleaded with our colleagues from the other side. They did not allow him to speak. My brother, the Honorable Chimosho, even got up and said, Speaker, if it means to suspend even from our side, please do. Let us exercise and observe decorum in this house. They did not allow the Honorable Zake to speak. Now, when it came to this side, that was the same response. To me, for the Right Honorable Speaker to ignore the other side when they were heckling Zake, not allowing him to speak, and then when it comes to this side and you suspend five, that was not correct. The Speaker would have been firm, send this side and send this side, not to send only one side. That's what brought about that reaction. But I do not condone that kind of behavior. Me personally, I will never reach that level. However much I am angry, I would rather walk out, but not to do that. The Speaker is the final person in the House. There are ways you can challenge the decisions of the Speaker, but not to insult the Speaker. I will never do that. Not to get up a bell to do that to the Speaker. Never shall I do that. I condemn what happened there. However, that was a consequence after the members had been suspended, not before.
Honorable Abe, Ugandans are asking themselves, how does this really contribute to the socio-economic development of our country and the poor service delivery that we're continuously receiving as citizens of this country? This time is meant to be deliberating on matters concerning Ugandans, but you're using this time to deliberate on and react in ways that are of self-interest. It's not interesting to Ugandans.
Absolutely. If we continue that way, there's no business. Maybe the individuals who are best at staging up a show, jumping, using a belt, maybe they will be given another term to come back to Parliament. Because anyway, that is what they use for campaigns. And I can tell you, the voters must put us into order. They must demand for the right action to be taken. Because for me, I feel bad.
Well, the voters putting you in order is translated as not voting you back into Parliament.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. But you see what happens is, these people, you see them jumping around and doing all these things that we are trying to disagree with. They're the ones that, at the end of the day, you'll see them coming back to Parliament. That, hey, so-and-so is a fighter, so-and-so can insult. That is the basis of voting anyway, in some of the areas in this country. But not in Kidgum anyway, not in Acholi. They'll want substance and they want someone who can produce something for you. So, by and large, we need to agree that we can disagree. We can agree to disagree. We need opposition in the House. We need NRM in the House. The government is doing its implementation of programs. We need the opposition to do the check and balance. But if you can't, if you are up there into a show, into saying we are planning to put pressure because we must keep on being in the news and be seen to be doing something because the election is nearing, the Ugandans will not benefit from anything. I can tell you there are super good brains in opposition that is being wasted in all this saga. Why? Because of the principle of collective responsibility. So I also have to walk out because my party has decided that we should sit down, then after this house we walk out. So we're not benefiting anything. For example, we have Honorable Odu, very super legislator. He's always very active, and so you see him also walking out with it. I mean, you like cry out loud, how would you do this? Honorable Bolo, he is a very intelligent man. He's a good legislator. But if he sits there, they will say, why did he remain? We also have to walk out. So I think we just have to agree. Parliament is run on rules of procedures. And most cases, the speakers try to be a little lenient. But they shouldn't be insulted. At the end of the day, it is the community that will lose. Like yesterday, we were discussing about issues of our reports. There are some things, people come to committee meetings, and because somebody is in opposition, just wants to put up a case. So you harass somebody, without even evidence. And the media has already captured that this person maybe is a thief, and you're not going to provide, evidence. You're not going to. I mean, we have to do things rightly.
Okay.
We can have opposition disagree, but we have to do things rightly.
You have mentioned that he's a very good legislator, and he has given a piece of advice that I found intriguing, that why not take matters that did happen in Parliament to the privacy of the Speakership's office and be handled there? Why attend to them on the floor of Parliament?
See,
which begs the standard of the Speakership.
By the
still.
way, Parliament is a house for the people. We normally bring issues that affect the people, the community, even the things that we are talking about, the human rights, issues of taking, picking Bobby Wine from the airport, up and out outside Parliament. But we are still bringing it here, and we're asking government to apologize because of it. Parliament is a house for the people. You'll bring issues that you feel you'll bring that affects the people. Of course, that is another alternative of handling the matter, which is still agreeable. You can still have this matter handled at your district or handled that politically. You can also go and call a rally anyway and explain yourself that I'm not this. But if the member decided to bring it to the House, that was what she saw. Okay. But there are other alternatives.
All right, Captain Francis Babu, the indiscipline in the 10th and 11th Parliament is escalating. We don't know what to expect of the 12th Parliament. Even when you look at the individual indiscipline issues, for example, the Namganza scenario, it has never been concluded. The Tojikwatako loudness has never been really sorted and resolved.
Differences.
Then you also look at the fact that it all shows as if Parliament is losing its direction. Is it losing the purpose for which it is supposed to stand for, the mandate? What should Parliament be? How can Parliament clean its picture?
First and foremost, when we elect these people, they are not the best in our constituencies. They happen to be there, and we choose them. When they go to Parliament, we expect them to behave honorably. From the minute he steps in that Parliament and he takes that Bible or Quran and swears, he now must behave honorably. Honorably means a lot of things, by the way. It means that you don't tell lies. It means that you speak the truth all the time. By taking your oath you took, and it means you must behave in a certain way. Now, I've heard a lot of things. This Parliament has got 529 people. Not all of them are bad. They are all very good. In fact, if I was to take the number that is bad, it's not up to 50. And they are turning that Parliament round and round. And then they are also coming up, they are falling into the trap of multi-party mismanagement, because the parties have been mismanaged.
Okay.
Now, instead of them sitting down and saying, look, I am not going to go to Parliament to support things that are not working out very well. They fall into that trap. But if you talk about what is happening in this country, we've had problems. Definitely there are people who've been shot. The government also admitted.
Yeah.
Numbers might be different, but they've been shot.
Yeah.
There are people in prison.
Yeah.
Government has admitted. Although the numbers vary, depending who is saying it.
Sure.
One person says they are 38, another one says they are 40, another one says they are 200. So these are things that we need to resolve.
Yes.
These are conflicts that we need to resolve. Whilst I agree entirely, and Parliament has talked about it, because you're saying what happens outside comes into Parliament. Those are things that have happened outside Parliament, but they come there because they're our leaders. They've got to speak about them. Now, an individual, we have certain respect. Even today, she's a member of Kitugum. Even if I was a member of another, I would not go to her constituency, you know, to use such language. I would not even go to his constituency, regardless whether he's opposition or not. Now, the important thing is that, are we behaving honorably? And I think this is a very important thing we need to look at. And that's why I'm saying, have we lost it? The culture of parliament. The majority should not allow this minority to spoil that house. They should actually pull their socks. Yeah, I've had a lot of propaganda, unfortunately. And I want to ask members of parliament to really stop. And abusing each other is not the answer, because that's defamation. Oh, if you want, you can go to court. No. Can we resolve it in parliament? The one of going to the speaker is very good. Yeah. Whereby they go to the speaker, and this is where the Western countries beat us. They've also got the same conflicts, but they resolve them behind the curtain. Okay. And they sit with the leaders and they find solutions. Another thing, whilst we have our differences, which I think they're there, even within government there are differences. Even the twins, when you have them, they have differences. So what we're saying, how do we resolve these conflicts without creating... Now, we're spoiling our parliament because we are going on issues which security tells you. We have information. We have information. If this had happened, something bad would have come out of it. For example, let me take an example. Assuming the leader of that party was allowed to come, and then a riot starts around Entebbe or on the way to Entebbe, and people are shot, what would have happened? Let us all say, probably these people, what they did, saved the situation of our people dying. Saved the situation of creating a bigger problem, which people wanted to create so that they could say, oh, the government should now go.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I think these are very important. Yeah. Because even in parliament, there are people who are saying, let's make them fail.
When all is done and dusted, at the end of the day, and I think I'll just really re-echo what the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, has said, cautioning legislators on, first of all, the fact that there's a lot of character assassination that we see on the floor of Parliament. There's also the violation of the House rules, and just urging members of Parliament to, whatever they do, let them do it with dignity and with honor, because you are honorable members of Parliament representing honorable citizens of Uganda. That marks the end of this discussion. Thank you so much for having been a part of